Alright friends and neighbors, my apologies, but before we can get to the video itself, I do have to post this disclaimer. The video you are about to watch is done only for comedic or entertainment purposes only, and it is not meant to be taken seriously or literally in any way, shape, or fashion to any degree whatsoever. I know that you, the average viewer watching this, that goes without saying. Especially if you've been watching my channel for quite some time, you know how I roll. If you are new to my channel, of course, I invite you to watch some of my other content once you're done with this video. And if you like what you see, please like, comment, share, subscribe. You know the deal. No, the reason I am doing this disclaimer is for the powers that be at YouTube, because quite frankly, with their policies, as of late, you never know. Alright, and I'm trying to get this channel to grow as much as possible, and I don't want to run afoul of anybody at YouTube and get my channel shut down before it even gets a chance to roll. So, again, for the powers that be, this is only for comedy purposes, it is entertainment purposes, it is not meant to be taken seriously. Alright? Alright, let's get to the video. Hello there everyone, my name is JP, and I would like to thank you for taking the time to click on this video. I am here today to speak to you about using lightsabers as an option for self-defense. Now, some of you might be a little skeptical about this. Some of you might feel that lightsabers are not very practical, they might be a little outlandish as an option, but I hope with this video to convince you otherwise. Some people might say that lightsabers are overkill as far as an option for self-defense, but I feel that if it is your life and limbs versus someone else's life and limbs, you want to prioritize your life and limbs ahead of somebody else's. And to be quite frank, I believe that they are less clumsy than your typical firearm. They are certainly more elegant. If you have ever seen someone trained to use a lightsaber, using one, it can be quite beautiful to watch in action, actually. Some people might be worried about whether or not owning a lightsaber is legal. There is currently no law against owning a lightsaber. There is currently no law or policy in place that would prevent you from using a lightsaber for self-defense. As a matter of fact, there is a constitutional amendment that protects your right to own a lightsaber. It is not very well known, I will grant you that, but I am referring, of course, to the 501st Amendment. I believe that there are similar policies worldwide in other countries that would allow people outside of the U.S. to own a lightsaber as well. So check your local government for clarification on that. There are some types of lightsabers that I feel you should consider for your weapon of choice for self-defense. One thing you have to consider is price. Of course, some companies that manufacture lightsabers are more expensive than others. However, there is a manufacturer, I believe they're called LGT. Well, I believe they're called Nexus now. At one point they were called LGT. They partner up with various vendors to ship their products worldwide. But a majority of their products are very budget friendly, very low in cost. So one of these options that I feel might be worth considering is this. This particular model is called the Regent. It was, I bought this from a vendor called Crimson Dawn, was their name. You could also find this with other vendors under different names, but at heart it is the same lightsaber. One thing I do like about this saber is its simplicity. It is a one-button setup. You have your charging port right there to make sure your lightsaber is powered up. And there is nothing on the hilt that will scrape against your palms or your fingers. You don't feel like there's anything going to dig into your skin and would prevent you from getting a good grip on your lightsaber, which of course is very important if you're going to use this for a self-defense option. One other important feature of a lightsaber that you should consider as far as the hilt itself is a choke point. Choke points are, I believe, very essential in getting a good grip on your saber. It is one thing to have a two-handed grip for an offensive stance, but if you are someone who is a little more skilled with a lightsaber and you go into a one-handed defensive spin with blade, you are going to want a good choke point so that the saber does not slip out of your hand and cause any unfortunate unnecessary injury. One lightsaber that I feel has not one but two very effective choke points is the Senza from a company called Sabertrio. You have one choke point right over here, and then you also have a second option for a choke point right here as well, which makes this very effective for your spins. One thing I will say about the spins is that no matter how well trained you are, you should have a care when you do your spins, because if you miscalculate the length of your blade with your environment, you might cause some unnecessary damage or, as I said, some unfortunate injury. One thing I do like about the Senza is that it also has these blade shrouds, which provide your hand a little bit of protection from the blade should you, in a rush, grab the saber in a place where you shouldn't be grabbing it. If I had this blade activated and these blade shrouds were not here, then I would have a bit of a problem on my hands. There is one other feature about lightsaber hilts in general that you might want to consider. That would be if all else fails, using your hilt as a melee weapon. Now, something like the Regent, although the emitter does have a bit of an effective looking design, I am not quite sure that this would make a good melee weapon because of the length of the hilt. It is not that long compared to some other models that I have seen. And on that note, I would like to speak about another lightsaber company out there by the name of ultrasabers. The thing about ultrasabers is the design of their hilts generally are not that bad. Some of them are quite nice, actually. But their electronics, if you're a gun person, if you're a person who knows guns, then you might understand what I mean when I say that they're electronic. Ultrasabers electronics are pretty much the high point of the lightsaber industry, meaning that they are ugly, but they get the job done. However, the reason I bring up a lightsaber as a melee weapon is because, unfortunately, sometimes you might run into a problem where if your lightsaber is not fully charged, the blade might fail on you, and you will have only the hilt itself to defend yourself with. Ultrasabers, I will just say to their credit, they do have a few options that could qualify as a good melee weapon. One example would be this. This model is called the Crimson Scorpion. There is also a black variant of this hilt, should red not be your color of choice. As you can see, it does have a claw protruding from this emitter, which could make it very handy for if you have to, again, sometimes you have to defend yourself by any means necessary, and this would not be that bad of a mean if all else fails. One other thing about ultrasabers, though, is that majority of their models also use what they call the modular hilt system, meaning that you can swap out components of various sabers. As an example for this, even though the emitter is attached to this particular hilt, I could, if I wanted to, take the pommel off, take a pommel from another model of saber, and then attach it to this. So you could, as a matter of fact, craft your own saber design from whatever pieces are available. To show you one such example that I borrowed from someone, they call this particular model the caliber. The hilt is taken from the malice lightsaber. The body of the saber is from the savior. And you have an amalgamation of a saber that, if all else fails, could give someone a very, very bad day. I mean, let's talk seriously here. You would not want to get hit with something like this. So these are just some of my observations, my opinions, and my recommendations, but I encourage you to do your own research. Search out for the various companies that are out there. Choose the right lightsaber that is fine for you, and learn how to use it. All right, don't go into this negligent, don't go into this ignorant. Be safe, but please. But I hope I have presented some issues for you to think about. I hope you do consider this as an option. And I thank you very much for watching. Have a pleasant day.